Hi, it's Kylie Coo. Welcome to my studio. So today I'm participating in a new monthly mixed media journal challenge. It's called Dice and Deal and it's by Kylie Black, and I'll leave the link to Kylie's video in the description box below. So I'm starting off in my small Dilutions journal, and I've gone to the back of this so that the pages are kind of getting used evenly between back and front, and it just means that the book doesn't buckle quite as much. So I've already gessoed my page and put some masking tape down the centre just to help protect it. So step one was to include a tag, label or envelope. So what I've done is to take a little tea packet that I save, and I've just included that, and that will become a kind of pocket. So just using some gel medium to glue that into place, and then using a kind of credit card just to make sure it's fully down. So step two is to use a crafty tool with paints or spray inks. So what I've chosen to do here is to use a couple of colours and my brayer, and all I'm doing is to roll the colour on. I quite often create backgrounds in this way. It's a good way to quickly get paint down, and it gives it a more uneven finish than using a paintbrush would. I've just slipped a book in at the back there just to give a bit more balance to the book. Since I'm using it at the back, it was kind of flapping about a bit. So I'm just going to build up these colours, colour on colour, until I get it to the level that I want, and I'm not drying it in between the layers, so it will start to mix a little bit. So basically Kylie used some mixed media inspiration deck cards and dice. She threw the dice, it came out 7, so she drew 7 cards, and these are the 7 steps in this. Now she did say if anybody had their own deck of cards or their own pick-a-sticks, you could use them. I don't have either of them, so I decided I would simply use Kylie's prompts. And it's always nice to see how different pages turn out using the same prompts. So step 3 is to journal with a permanent pen. So it's quite difficult journaling at this stage, because normally I would have been almost finished my page before I do any journaling. However, I gave it some thought, and when all else fails I revert to nature or to flowers, something of that sort, and that's what I did here, and recalled this quote that I used. I did think later that I could have actually done the journaling on the little pocket that I'd created, but it's here and that's fine. And I wasn't sure at this stage if it would be covered up. I don't know if I said already, but what I did was I saw the first prompt being drawn in Kylie's video, then, set about doing this, then looked at the second prompt and moved on that way. So prompt 4 is to add a piece of your recycled art. So I'm just looking through some journals here. I didn't have any loose art that I wanted to use, so just looking through some journals. And in this journal I came across some unfinished pages, so I decided that might be one to use. And I go back to this one because it's got a flower on it. I think that was actually a wallpaper sample that I'd used for that page, but as I say, I never got round to finishing it, so I decided to cut that out. So now not only is it unfinished, but it's got a big gap in it. So I quite liked the colour around the flower, and decided that I would cut around, leaving that border with a bit of colour. Now it was quite difficult to cut because on the back of that there was baby wipes and other things that I'd stuck down for the other journal page that wasn't finished. So I'm looking and thinking that colour actually goes pretty well with the background colours here. So I'm using a thick layer of gel medium to get this stuck down. And I put a thick layer on the back as well, again primarily because of that baby wipe. And just use the credit card to secure it right in place, or as far in place as I could. So step 5 is to add doodles or text using a white pen or marker. So I got this big Posca pen out, and all I did was to follow the sort of line of the flower round, and I just repeated that right across the page, just avoiding the quote. I actually couldn't decide whether to use this particular journal or not, but I've started a lot of projects this year, and I decided that I couldn't use a separate journal for each and every one, because I was just going to have so many journals on the go. I've already got so many journals on the go. So just taking a smaller Posca pen now, I think it was Posca, it was maybe the Pebeo one, and just doing some dots around the flower. Now I've put the film at 2 times speed, just to get through it quicker, but when you look at it here, it doesn't actually look as if it's going that fast, but it is. Now that's the problem always with this type of pen. I've noticed they all do that after a while, where you press and then they just flood. But I just wiped it out and went back to it, and that was fine. So yeah, I just decided to use this journal rather than starting yet more. And if this fills up, I then just move on to another one. So step 6 is to use acrylic paint through a stencil. So I'm using the African Violet with this flower stencil because I thought, yes, it would be good to have more flowers, but also to try and pick up some more of that colour, just so it didn't look isolated there. And just using a makeup sponge as the kind of stencil implement. And I'm not putting it on too thick. I want the colour to be seen, but not too bold. Just checking there to make sure that it's coming through okay. And I'm almost picking out individual flowers here. And when I looked at that, I felt that it needed something down the bottom as well. And I was happy at that. So just giving it a quick dry before I go on to step 7, which is to use spray inks through a stencil. So I'm using this dot stencil and the Cosmic Shimmer Mist. Now I wasn't sure how this would work, which is why I'm testing it on here, because I thought it might not show up terribly well. And I do have a blue one, and I thought, well, I could use the blue, but I just wasn't too sure about that. So I wanted to see how that kind of white colour came out first of all. And right off I was pretty happy with it. It's quite subtle, but it's definitely there. You can see it running down the page there just because that was sticking up a little bit, but that's okay. It just all adds to the effect. And because the big flower was fairly plain, I decided just to use some of the Cosmic Shimmer on it as well. Now, that was actually the last step, but I just wanted to take a black marker and just do a little bit of outlining, and you can see I just went round the flower, round the outer edge, round a couple of flowers, and I went over the quote, and that was it. So I am really pleased with the way the page turned out. I could put a little something in there in my little secret pocket, but really pleased the way that it turned out. So thanks, Kylie, for starting this monthly challenge. Really enjoyed it, and I look forward to doing more through the year. So thanks to everybody for watching, and I hope you will join me for my next video, and thanks for watching. Bye for now.